लाइव स्ट्रीम होते हुए क्या बात है, क्या बात है। हाँ, तो बहुत ही बढ़िया। मस्ती और
मीनल नमस्ते।
नमस्ते सुधा, तुम्ही को मैंने नमस्ते बोला। मैंने तुमको बोला कि इतने दिन के बाद तुमको देखने को मिला। बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत मस्ती। मैंने तुमको देखते ही नमस्ते बोला। ओके, सो लेट मी जस्ट फिनिश दिस ऑफ and expand. So welcome everybody, and let me just put everybody else on mute. अभी गप्पे करेंगे लेकिन ये बढ़िया। So hello and welcome everybody. तो हम यही गप्पे लगा रहे थे और यहाँ पे बात चल रही थी. I just wanted to show off my earrings which Deepika has sent to me, and I was just asking just a few days ago, because we have announced the Goa festival for 5 days, Goa festival for 3 days. Everybody is making arrangements for that. And there are many people who are unable to pay. And I knew that they will ask me for sponsorship. I knew that they were going to ask me. And I told Mani, I said, Mani, I don't have money right now. So where is the money going to come from? And you send. 4 days later, the lady walks in and says, oh, I have to give you some jewelry, and this is meant for you. And I just smiled because I knew that the money was coming not for me, but for all the people who wish to have that masti in Goa. But as these transactions happen here and there, sometimes we take responsibilities that we are doing the transaction, that we are in the middle of it. We have to protect this, we have to give that, we have to do this. So when we come into these kind of thoughts, and that is exactly where the topic of responsibility comes in. When I think of this beautiful action of hers, that she gave me everything that I needed, because right now I've received about 10 names that I need to sponsor, and each sponsorship is about $1.5 lakh. And from all the jewelry that has come, well, some money I have, but some will be taken care of by this jewelry that has suddenly arrived at my house. Was it my responsibility to sponsor those people? Is it my responsibility that every time I announce a festival, I have to pay for those who can't make it happen for themselves? Is it my responsibility? Do I have to do it? Well, that's the topic, because either you can be responsible and then all the burden comes on you to arrange for things. It will probably get arranged, but the burden, the heaviness of that arrangement lies on your tiny shoulders. Or you can leave it to the universe. Or you can leave it that this responsibility for doing everything lies on the universe. And from that space of everything being on the universe, if the money has to come through me, it will come through me. If it has to come through somebody else, will the work stop? Will the work in the universe stop happening if I don't give the money to someone? Well, I have understood very much that the work never stops. If the money doesn't come, then that is the experience that was meant to be received by them and me. If the money comes, then that is the experience that is to be received by them and me. And this is a very, very tiny part of feeling responsible for something or the other. Many people, for example, when they get attached to me, and now that I'm just going to talk through today with stories and stories. So many people, when they get attached to me, they get attached to me. They love me, and they love me with all their might. And then they say, no, if somebody says something wrong about you, then it is my problem. I am going to feel so hurt because you are so dear to me. I have to protect your name. I have to protect what others say about you. And this is so beautiful, because now in this case, what was happening, and I'm just talking through stories, and people who are listening to the stories will know that this is something that is happening to you. will know that, yes, this is very much a possibility. And these are all live stories. This has happened to people. And from there only, this topic has come up. So today is all about some stories of responsibility. And right now, I talk about responsibility of holding a name high, whether it is your own name or sometimes the name of a beloved. And in this case, the person who came to me said, no, I have to protect your name. Nobody else. My husband cannot say anything about you because it is you're my guru. I need to protect your name. Now, something like this had happened to me. I wanted to protect somebody's name. Whose name did I want to protect? I wanted to protect Mani's name. There was a time when, about a few years ago, when a lot of people in the group, and one or two of them who had received a lot of help from Mani, who had received a lot of grace from Mani, started to say things about Mani, which were very hurtful. They were very hurtful. The first time I saw something like that on the group, my heart kind of missed a beat, because I was like, oh my God, Mani has helped them so much. And how can they be saying these things about Mani? And so, as I looked at it, I knew that I had been triggered. I had been triggered. And so now the job, if I get triggered for something, who is the work on? I recognize it very well that there is nothing else outside which is more important than me working on myself. And so as I felt hurt about what was being said about Mani, the work is on me. So I sat down in guidance and I started to take my journal writing, and I asked Mani, I said, what is it that I need to do? What is the action that I should take? Because these people, this person is saying all of these things about you, which are completely untrue. They are not true. And yet they're saying it, and you have helped them so much. And yet now they're criticizing and they're making fun of you and they're ridiculing you and they're dragging your name to the mud. And then Mani said to me, they are saying it for me. I have an equation with them. Who are you to interfere in that equation? That is something between me and that person. That equation is between my energy and their energy. I am a father to them. They can say anything as a daughter, as a son. Who are you to interfere in the middle of that? And the next thing he said to me, if you think that I am such a weak energy, if you think that I am such a weak energy that you have to protect me, then I suggest that you also go. You don't sit and protect me. My name is not worth protecting if my frequency is such a weak father frequency. It doesn't. You should go and find yourself a strong father. But if you think that my frequency is the father frequency and it will protect itself, then what are you interfering in all of this for? So every which way that I looked at it, there was no interference from me necessary. The only thing that was needed from me was to work on my energy. What was my energy that needed work? Well, I felt hurt that they said something like that. So what is it that I have to work on? I have to work on my hurt self, on the self that is feeling sad because some words were used by somebody to denote something that might have felt like the truth to them at that time. But that is their truth. I am getting involved in their story and creating hurt emotions for myself, which means that the hurt lies in me. I only simply have to work on myself. Am I responsible for holding anybody's name high? I am not responsible for holding anybody's name high. A name doesn't mean anything at all. A name means so many different things in a day. When you call out to your children, one day you will call out in anger. 5 minutes later, you will call out in hurt. 10 minutes later, you will call out in love. It's the same name. And yet the frequency with which you are saying that name is changing every 10 minutes, 20 minutes, something or the other. So the name actually is pretty inconsequential. It is the frequency that you are using underneath for that name. That's all that matters. And so if you think that you have to hold your name high, oh no, I have to protect my name. I have a name in the society and I have to protect a name. That name is not in the society. That name simply exists in your mind. You have no idea what the society is doing with your name, how many times they are thinking of your name. You have no idea at all, and it is actually inconsequential. Why? Because the society doesn't exist. All that exists is you and your thoughts and your reflections. You are thinking that my name will be put to mud. These are your thoughts, that my name will be put to mud if this and that happens. If this is the thought, if this is what you are creating with your fear, that my name will go to mud, my name will be totally ruined, this will happen and that will happen. If those are the stories you are creating, the universe has no other choice but to bring your name to mud. The universe will bring your name to mud because you created those possibilities. And if you think my name doesn't matter, my name, I don't exist, I am simply a medium for everything to happen through me. I'm a medium for the actions to happen. I am going to surrender all my emotions. Now what? The same name, but the name doesn't exist as an event, as a tool for you to create more emotions. Good happens to you, great. Bad happens through you, great. Everything that happens through you, you will keep looking within and simply believe in yourself being the medium. Is it wrong to do something? Is it wrong to do something as a doer? Nothing is wrong and right. Everything is simply going to create emotions. Now, what is the range of emotions that we create through our actions? That is what we focus on when we become aware. I do something as a doer, and it brings me a lot of joy. I go out and I win a deal, I do a transaction. It brings me a lot of joy. I'm a doer in that transaction. It's because of me the transaction has happened. But what is the frequency that it is bringing to me? It is bringing joy. Fabulous. I will take this joy. It's a choice for me whether I wish to take this joy or not. Something else happens, and now it brings shame to me. It brings shame to me. I have not succeeded in doing something. I have failed in putting a transaction together. I have failed in doing a responsibility. I was given the responsibility to do something, and I didn't get to do it. I couldn't do it, whatever the reason be, but I couldn't do it. Now I have to sit in shame. But guess what? Just like taking on the joy was a choice, this too, taking on shame, is also a choice. When is it a choice? When we are sitting in awareness. If we are not sitting in awareness, if we are sitting in unawareness, and the frequency outside will create thoughts and we will just simply tune into it, then fine, we will tune into shame again and again and again. However, when we become aware and we recognize that being shameful simply triggers a couple of frequencies in me. What is it? Shame will trigger guilt feelings in me. Shame will trigger sadness in me. It will trigger hurt in me. All of that stuff. Shame will trigger shame in me. That too is a frequency. But along with that, I will also be feeling guilty. I will be feeling a little bit of self-hate towards myself. And the minute you are able to see it, if you are able to see all of that stuff which is being created, then you can pick and choose what is it that you want to eat. There's 100 dishes being served to you. In awareness, we can pick and choose what is it that we wish to eat today. We don't have to chuckle everything. We don't have to taste everything. And even if we taste and the taste is bad, when we are in awareness, we can choose something else. So nothing is really bad, but it's just simply an experience. And if the experience doesn't seem like something you want to taste today, when you are in awareness, you can change it. If you are not in awareness, it will not change with your thought. It will change. At another time, something will happen. You will be able to let go of that. But anytime more guilt comes, you will tune into all of that old guilt as well. Because you didn't release it, you simply held it. The game constantly, each time, comes back to awareness, awareness, awareness. A few days ago, something like this played out in our group. There was some work that was to be done, in very small, simple work which was to be done. There's a session that happens. I was traveling, and when the session happens, one or two people are supposed to start the session and begin it. And then one of the people who was meant to start the session, they just didn't land up over there. They didn't start the session. Everybody else was waiting. It was her responsibility to start the session, and this session didn't start. When she figured out 45 minutes later that I haven't started the session, she immediately looked within, and then she started the session, but she looked within, whatever shame she had seen, whatever, other, other frequencies she was able to see. She worked on herself. And then what remains? Oh, I'm simply the medium. I am not responsible for anything that happened. As this happened, she was at peace. But what was happening to everybody else who still holds doership responsibility on their shoulders? They got triggered. Everybody got triggered in a different way. And when you get triggered, if somebody has not done their job and they are not even taking the responsibility for it, how is it even possible? This is the path where the buck has to stop on you. You are responsible for what you do. You are responsible for the karma you are creating. You will be responsible. You will pay back for the karma you are creating. This is what we have understood so far. And I keep reminding all of you, you are not responsible for the actual action. The action of not being able to start the meeting on time. Now, what is that? The action of starting a meeting is simply that. The action of starting a meeting is an action, and that's all. That is a body taking in action. That is the karma that the body is doing. But as the body is doing that karma, what is it that you are experiencing? Had the person not worked on her shame, what would she have felt? A lot of shame. She would have gone around apologizing to everybody for not being able to do something that she was responsible for. So you would have felt shame, you would have felt guilty, and that is the energy, that is the experience that you would have grown. It is simply an experience, mind you, of these two frequencies. Even if the frequencies are guilt and shame, it's just a frequency. Even if you experience shame, it's just a frequency. Even if you manage to change shame to joy, that too is just a frequency. So even if you do experience guilt, firstly, let's get it simple and clear. It's just a frequency. I'm feeling so guilty. I didn't do this. I feel so bad that I didn't do that. All of the stuff that we are feeling in our minds are simply frequency driven. So firstly, to understand, even if it's just a frequency, I can shift it. It's all about shifting the frequency. It's all about moving from the place of I am responsible for everything that I do. The buck stops here. If I don't do it, it's my bad. It's my fault. And then when something is our fault, what do? We beat ourselves. And when we beat ourselves, is that a sign of self-love, or is that a sign of self-loathe, self-hate? It is a sign of self-hate. So there is a part of yourself you are hating. But the journey is towards loving myself unconditionally. Whether I did this or I didn't do it, the journey of myself is to expand myself, to become aware of me in everything, and then to love myself unconditionally. As I love myself unconditionally, it automatically percolates into everything. Why? Because I am in everything. I love myself. I don't have to love every person. I am in everything. I only have to love myself, and that love will be there everywhere. This love is not to give and to receive. This love is because you are love. But when you take on responsibility and now you are no longer able to do it on time, on resource, whatever it is, when you are not able to do something, you will be beating yourself far away from self-love. That's unconditional self-love has totally become conditional because you haven't managed to accomplish something or the other. From that conditional space, you will experience those conditional frequencies. The conditional frequencies of hating yourself, the conditional frequencies of feeling guilty, of hurting, of being sad, what people are thinking about you, creating those scenarios in your head, then feeling angry, resentful. All of them are frequencies, and you will simply be playing in those frequencies. It's a play. You can participate in this play, or you can participate in another play. And so when we become aware, we just choose what kind of strategy we are going to have. We are going to participate in a play that grows our masti. That's all that we are deciding, that, okay, this is a play and that is a play, and all of them are equal plays. Really, even the frequencies, no matter what the frequencies are, high frequency, low frequency, even letting go of that judgment, saying it's just a game. I can play whatever game I wish to play, but whatever game I play from whatever frequency, that's the only frequency that will be received by me again. Because it's a mirror, because it's a reflector. The universe is simply a mirror throwing back at you whatever you are sitting in. So that is why when we come to the game of responsibility, two different options are available. I can be responsible for the entire universe. Everybody's responsibility is on me. I played that way. I was an investment banker with large teams. I was in charge of very large projects. I was in charge of, not just investment banker. I worked in many different parts of banking, but only the last few years as investment bankers is what comes to mind mostly. But large projects were happening when I did project management, and I didn't understand that I was simply a medium through which stuff was happening. I didn't understand that I was a holder of frequency, and that frequency was playing out through me when I was constantly successful. That frequency of being fearless was constantly creating those outcomes for me outside, which I could enjoy. I was already the frequency of abundance, and so the outside success was simply a reflection of the energy I was. I didn't understand that. And so I was the doer. That's how doership works. You are responsible for large teams. Their actions matter to you. And so what would happen? Because I was the doer, when I saw non-doership, and why would I see non-doership? Because doership will create expectations. Doership will create expectations of you from yourself. This is what doership. I am responsible. I have to do this. It is my job to grow this business. It is my job to do something outside for this organization, but it is my job. I take on the responsibility. As I take on the responsibility, when somebody outside reflects that non-responsible part of me, please understand, everything and everyone a part of me. But when they reflect this non-responsible part of me, what will happen? I will get angry. I am not accepting that part of me. How can they be so non-responsible? I told them that this job needs to be done, and they haven't done that job. They are simply just saying, oh, we didn't get the time, we didn't have the resources, whatever. That story outside, when that would play out, what would it create in me? It would create a lot of resentment and anger. And I was in a place to beat up people. And so I would beat up people. But even as I was beating up people, even as I was getting angry at them, what was I simply doing? I was growing my anger frequency. I was growing my experiences of anger. And what starts to happen when you grow your anger frequency? Well, so simple, no. Whatever is the frequency I hold will keep becoming experienced by me more and more. And so my anger frequency started to get experienced by me more and more. In a day, sometimes I had to fire one person higher. In a day, I had to fire one person. And now, in a day, 3 people were screwing up. 3 people were not doing their job properly. Now I had to fire 3 people. Then an entire team was not doing its job properly. Now I had to fire the entire team. And through all of that firing that I was doing, I was sitting in anger frequency, and growing the anger frequency. And then things started to happen at home, that I had to fire people at home. Then I had to fire people in my family. So what am I doing? By being that doer, by being responsible, and then seeing outside those responsible parts not coming through, because there will be people who will reflect at me my non-responsible self as well. As they are doing that, I am simply growing my anger frequency. Story changes a little bit. I stop getting my anger, acting at all the times. Why? Because I have become aware that I hold the anger. My journey has started. I'm still working with large teams. I'm still the investment banker, the senior partner in the firm and all of that. However, my aware journey has begun, and I'm told that this anger that you experience, it can be released. It can be released through the candle. So I begin to release the candle and release my anger into the candle. And I find suddenly I'm not so angry anymore. I am not so angry anymore. Did the work stop happening? Because people were very productive when I would fire them. When I would get angry with them, everybody would helter-skelter, get the work done. Oh, Meenal is going to get angry. Let's not invite that anger. And so people were working around. But when I let my anger go, did people stop working? No. As a matter of fact, work started to move even more productively because I wasn't getting angry inside. Outside, I could do whatever I wanted. Outside, I could still be angry with people. I could still fire them. It wasn't that I had to change myself, but inside, I was no longer feeling angry. Now, here's the thing. Inside, when you are not feeling angry, what are you growing? You are growing a little bit more of joy. Now, if I'm growing more joy, what will start to happen outside? A little bit more of things that will give me joy. A little bit more, a little bit more. So instead of firing 5 teams, now I was only firing 3. Then I was only firing 2. And the others were all doing their job well, because their doing the job well was actually growing the joy for me. So the joy inside me changed the outside circumstances. The joy inside me created more created more productive environment outside of me. And when the outside the outside environment was not productive, I still didn't feel angry because I had released my anger. I was just feeling more happy all the time. And so here it is. When I was feeling responsible for everything, then outside will create a lot of anger in me when that responsibility is not reflected, when that responsibility has to create hurt. It's an amazing tool for creating hurt and resentment in you about what others are meant to do, what other people are not doing. We feel so strongly about what a government is supposed to do, what an organization is supposed to do, what your bosses are supposed to do, what your colleagues are supposed to do, what your subordinates are supposed to do. If we are feeling so strongly about all of that, including the government, just takes our taxes and doesn't do anything for us. Is the government even listening to you? It's not. There is one election day in 4 or 5 years, and that's your only time that the government will listen to you. Every single day when you get angry at what the government is doing, and it is so irresponsible, it is meant to do this, it is not meant to do this, etc., etc. Through all of this story in your head, what is it that you are growing? You are simply growing dissatisfaction, discontentment, your anger, your resentment. All of these frequencies don't belong to the government. The government has simply become a tool for you to become angry. Through their responsible, irresponsible, good behavior, bad behavior, whatever is happening in the outside world, what judgment are you taking? Oh no, this person is responsible. The buck for the country stops there. The buck doesn't stop anywhere. The buck doesn't exist in the energies. Every time we think that somebody is responsible, this time, take a look at when somebody is responsible and they're fulfilling their responsibility. What is it that you feel? when somebody is responsible and not fulfilling their responsibility, what is it that you feel? When somebody who is responsible suddenly decides to not do anything towards their responsible behavior. Let me just see this, just a second. I think there is somebody on unmute. Let me just mute them. Yeah, okay. So the whole journey through every such question, when people are responsible, when your children are responsible, oh, my child is suddenly showing so much of responsibility after years and years of me running after them. And now that they've started to go to college, now they're being so responsible. I am so happy that they are being responsible. Well, the minute you are happy at an outside actor, tomorrow, when they're not being responsible according to your standards, what is it that is going to create for yourself? You, by saying that, oh, I am proud when my children are being so responsible, you are engaging your pride, your joy on somebody external to you. Your joy, your pride is not an external thing. It is your frequency. You can be joyful with or without somebody being responsible. So many parents, I mean, it works both ways, that you take responsibility for your children, that no, I produce them. It is my job to take care of them. They are my responsibility. And then immediately that second expectation will also build in. Oh, when I'm old, it is my expectation that it'll be their responsibility to look after me. Ah, what a beautiful sword it is. You're cutting yourself on both ends. Why? Because this is just a set of expectations. And when expectations are created and expectations are bound to by you, whose frequencies of hurt and expectations will create hurt, and expectations will create sadness when broken. And even when they are met, the day doesn't end over there. Today, your expectations are met. Your son took really good care of you. Today, it is met. Today, you will be joyful. Tomorrow or day after, something else might play out. Your frequency of hurt might be the one playing out. But when it is your frequency of hurt playing out, the outside actor will have to bring you your hurt. How easy it is for somebody to bring you your hurt when you've got your expectations pinned on them. They have to take care of me. They only have to say, you're not my responsibility. You will sit in so much hurt. And so here it is. Those expectations are meant to give you hurt and resentment. So what can you do? Well, you can look at the word responsibility itself. Neither are they your responsibility. Yeah, but I'm the only earning member and I'm the only one who brings the bread home. Well, you are the medium. You are the medium, and they chose you as the medium. If they wanted to, drive around in a Merc while they were young and not earning, they will choose parents who already have Mercs, or those parents will get Mercs as you become higher and higher in seniority. You will be able to buy what their energy has wished to experience along with yours. And then if you already have everything, but they have chosen to experience nothing, they have chosen to experience loss of everything, then what will happen? Some scenarios will be made through which they can experience their own losses. As they experience their losses, and you in the middle are playing out that game for them. You are the medium through which those losses are happening. What are your feelings going to be? Are you going to blame yourself for not being able to give to your children what everybody else is able to give? Great, then. The feelings that you're going to play in are guilt and shame. Now, you can either continue to sit in that guilt and shame. Those are just frequencies. It is your choice where you wish to sit. So you can continue to sit in those beautiful frequencies of guilt and shame, or otherwise, you can simply look at the frequencies and say, I played in guilt all this while. I played in blame all this while. Now, I can release those frequencies. Now, I can choose to experience something different. What would be the difference? The difference would be self-love. So self-love, that whether I manage to do something for them or not, I am love. I am awesome. So that love for the self, that unconditional love for the self, whether you became a medium to bring losses, whether you became a medium to bring shame, whatever it is, are you going to be able to love yourself amidst all of this? That's where the buck ends. The buck ends when you are able to love yourself unconditionally. That's all the game there is to it. That's all the name there is to it. All of the responsibility is to make you experience otherwise. And all of this game of letting go of responsibility and becoming a medium through which stuff is happening. As a medium, I always tell everybody, so this is a really fun story that happened. We were traveling to Australia, and in Australia, we decided to take, a holiday someplace else. It was my responsibility to book the hotel rooms for everyone. Nobody handed over that responsibility to me, but I understood that if I'm taking a group everywhere with me or something, then this is something that I need to do for the group. I will create the hotel space. Me and this one fellow in Australia, we both sat down to look for hotel rooms and to book the hotel room. I completed the transaction, and now there's only the payment remaining to go. So I put in I have Google Pay, I have a credit card, I have a debit card. I put all of these things in, and the system just keeps crashing. It won't take my payment in. So I do it once or twice, and then suddenly it hits me. I say, okay, this hotel is not getting booked. There's got to be a purpose for it. So we will not do any bookings today. We will just sit and observe. I looked into wherever, if there was anything, if there was any fear, I just looked in to see if there was any trigger that was happening to me, and no triggers. So I said, okay, let it go. I let go of that. We came back next day to the same place, the same hotel. I'm trying again. Everything goes through except that when I want to make the payment not going through. So I'm again looking at this, and I said, okay, bhai, this is very clear that this is not the place where we are meant to stay. Let's go to another site. Let's go look for another hotel. We go to another site. We find a hotel which is much cheaper, much more in the center and all of that. We find it in like 5 minutes. As soon as we found the hotel, we look at it. It looks really, really amazing. It looks very central. And in 5 minutes, we've booked the place for I think we were about 10 of us. We booked these two. It had one very large bunk bed kind of arrangement. So in one room, eight people could sleep. In the other room, 2 or 3 other people could sleep. So that way, 2 or 3 rooms got booked, and all was done. I came to the payment screen. In 2 minutes flat, the payment goes right through. In 2 minutes flat. There is no stopping the transaction at all. So we were laughing. I said, wow, this is the place that had to be, because, we were just being given the sign that is not the place, that is not the place. And now we've got the right place. It's cheap and it's great. It's right in the middle of the markets as well. We don't even have to walk. And this is the better place. Except we landed up over there amongst 10 people in the room, which was, 8 people in a bunk bed and 2 or 3 people in another room adjoining. There was only one bathroom. There was only one bathroom. And it is so amazing, because every time I go to any place, I am so particular on checking how many bathrooms, what do the bathroom pictures look like, and all of that stuff. But when it was coming to book this room, nope, nothing came. Mind is blank. Tuck, tuck, tuck. The transaction happened. And now when we come to this place, only one bathroom. And that bathroom doesn't have a latch. So anybody who has to go in has to keep singing, has to keep doing something, so that people will not walk in while they are inside the bathroom. So all of this stuff is happening. And one person, she came to me and she says, Meenal, you've booked also the next room in Sydney. So please, can you just make sure that it is a better room than this? And I burst out laughing. I said, you think I did this arrangement? No. I didn't do this arrangement. Let me tell you, this was totally, purely orchestrated by money. That I tried to book those other hotels for like 5 or 6 times, and they didn't get booked. And this one went through in one simple slot. And the place in Sydney is also booked. I don't know what it is going to look like, but it is not my choice. It is money's choice. Here was my choice, right? I could have sat in that place saying, no, it's my responsibility. I was responsible for making the best arrangements for these people. These people trusted me. These people have given me their money. These people are waiting for me to make the arrangements. It is my responsibility. And so I have really slacked down. I have done a bad job. I am not, I should be apologizing for this bad job. But I totally knew that this job was not my doing. I sit in a surrender. And so, and I even tell people that you think that I come and sit over here and I speak these things. All I do is come and sit over here and open my mouth like that. And from that open mouth, words come, and those words are meant for you. And that's all. But when you say, oh, what an amazing session, do I take the credit for it? Of course, I'll say, thank you, thank you. I'll also feel good about it. I'll take the credit. But inside, I know that I have nothing to do with the session. I'll be happy with all the joy and the love that I am receiving, but that's not my journey. My journey doesn't get completed just because I sit here on every Saturday and give some nice, fancy, words, and I speak about some nice things. That's not my journey. My journey still remains the same as your journey. The journey to constantly look within, the journey to constantly clear the emotional slate that we keep creating for ourselves. This is a role. And in the role, I can either seat myself. I am the CEO of this company. I need to do it this way. Every Saturday, I have to do this. Otherwise, people will suffer. I have to take the word out. I have to expand this group. I have to expand consciousness. I have to expand the higher frequencies of people. I have to do nothing. I have to simply be in this life and enjoy this game. And so I give away the responsibility of doing anything. Does something happen through me? Of course it happens. But when it happens through me, what does it bring to me? It brings me masti. And when I'm not able to do something, like for example, last week I was traveling, no guilt, just happily, oh, it's not meant to happen. Won't happen. Why? Because I found something else to do with masti in. I found a chutti. I'm going for the chutti. It will get taken care of. Whatever needs to happen, if a session needs to happen, it will happen. If it doesn't need to happen, it will not happen. What grows when I sit in this place of, I am not where the buck ends. What grows in me is masti. And when that masti grows, it automatically reaches everybody else, because we think that my saying something is creating something for you. No, it's my being something that is creating something for you. What am I being? I am being masti. I am being unconditional love. I am being masti. And that is what is creating for you a channel from which you can pull the same frequency. I can give you 100 sermons. Underneath it, if I'm feeling worked up, worried, anxious, oh, how is my session going to go? I hope people are listening. I hope people are taking notes. I hope people are not going to forget what I'm saying. I hope people are going to change their lives. When I sit with all of these expectations, there is nothing that I create for anyone. Firstly, I create all of these expectations, which are now ready to be broken. Somebody will come to me and say, you said something, but I didn't listen to you. And then what will it do for me? It will create hurt for me. But when I sit in masti, you didn't do something that's great, because that's your frequency and your choice. I have given you the station. I have given you the frequency. Whether you take it or not, you are being guided completely. You are being guided by your frequencies of hate or conditional love or whatever it is you want to call towards yourself. That's your experience for now. And it's perfect for me, because that's not my journey to observe what you are doing. It is my journey to observe what I am feeling, not even what I'm doing. It's just my journey to observe what I am feeling. And so with this place, I can just be free of all the responsibility, and work happens even more. The work of joy being distributed, the joy being multiplied, that being the only purpose, that can I be in masti as much as possible. That purpose is already being solved when I let go, when I totally let go of my responsibility. And so to be able to see that responsibility is simply a word, which will act as a trigger for you. And what frequencies it will create are the frequencies that you are already tuned into. So if you're tuned into shame, then the word responsibility will create a lot of triggers for you to experience that shame. If you're holding a lot of hurt, a lot of guilt, then responsibility will become a trigger for you to experience more of the guilt. For me, because I am completely irresponsible now, I have become that person with a lot of awareness. I have become that person that I allow myself to be a medium. If good things happen, great. I'm a medium who will take the credit and feel joyful about it. When bad things happen, I'm like, I'm not taking the credit for this one. I am aware that I'm only a medium. And so I'm still going to be in masti no matter what happens. And it's okay, whatever my words are, I don't take responsibility. I'm not responsible for this and for that. And that gives me more joy because there is no guilt when I'm not able to deliver. So again, simply that being responsible, being not responsible are simply trigger words. And there are so many beautiful trigger words that I nowadays just notice, I'm just being able to, I'm being shown that every word, whatever connotation that you assign to it, it becomes a part of your experience. So these days, for example, the one word that I'm sitting with is inconvenience. Inconvenience. And that's, a little bit away from responsibility. But when the world gives me a slightest bit of inconvenience, I get extremely angry. I get very angry when I'm inconvenienced even this much. And even that word has simply become a trigger, because what is convenience and inconvenience? A convenience is when things are going as per your plan. Inconvenience is when things don't go as per your plan. And so what happens? What are you supposed to do? You're going to make things more as per your plan? No, the idea is to drop the plan itself. Because when we don't have a plan, then we don't have to bother with inconveniences. Nothing can be inconvenient if we didn't have a plan to begin with. We'll do whatever is needed in the flow of the moment. And everything then from that flow of letting go of outcomes, letting go of outcomes in the smallest of things will only bring you joy. That is what we call as surrender, the letting go of outcomes, being in the flow as to whatever comes. That process that we call as surrender. Why do we want to surrender? Why do I keep telling people, oh, just surrender the outcome, just surrender the outcome? Because the minute you surrender the outcome, that is the minute that you tune into more joy, more joy. I have some comments, going to read through the comments just to see what's happening. Okay. Thank you so much with your beautiful stories. You always touch a chord and it always brings me so much to awareness. Yeah. And that's the only reason why I keep telling the stories, because you know what? Many of the people who think, oh, she's got it all figured out, she doesn't go through life. She just keeps sitting like that the whole day. And I just tell everybody, I'm having the same life that you are having, except that because we are aware, every experience literally can pass through us in no time at all. Something that would keep me angry for days now simply comes, makes me extremely angry for about 5 minutes. And then I'm done with anger, because I come into the awareness and say, I'm getting angry over here. Okay, what is it that I need to experience? Anger, done, over, finished. Now can I tune back to joy? Of course I can. And that is it. Okay, so somebody says to me, thanks for this topic. I was struggling with this topic in some basic programs. Sadhguru says, your responsibility is limitless. Can you explain in brief what this means, as this is confusing me with what you are saying? Okay, Sadhguru says your responsibility is limitless. I say you are limitless. Now, are you more confused or are you less confused? See, here it is. One, somebody says something, and you pick up that something, and then now you tell it to me, oh, I'm confused with what that fellow is saying and what you are saying are different. No, whatever that fellow is saying, there's some frequency at which he is saying it, but you have caught it at what frequency is your frequency. And as you say, you are confused. Well, there you go. That's your frequency, that you are sitting in the confusion frequency. Then you will find that that person said this, but that person said this, and now I don't know which one is the right thing. But I already said that everything is the right thing. You're like, oh, but this fellow is saying that for that program. Well, that program was meant for you in that moment. And so whatever you heard was right for you in that moment. And then if you are hearing this and getting confused, then release your confusion and you will know what the right frequency, what the right answer for you is. This person said this, that person said something that is exactly the same as you, that person said that which is completely different from you. Yes, but amongst all of that, one is a common thread. Who? The listener, and the listener is you. And with what frequency you are listening to something, with what frequency you are receiving something. And that's why I love my program so much. I just love my program so much. Not that I created that program, money created the program, but the Expect Miracle program. And why is it that so much shift happens within 30 days? Because I don't depend on knowledge. This person said this, let me make notes. This person said that, let me make notes. Now I'm going to compare notes and figure out. No, what is it that I put over there? Whatever notes you are taking, I understand that you will be taking at the frequency that you are at. That's where the knowing will take itself from. Somebody, I always talk about this and I say, Rajneesh, Osho. So Osho had received amazing understandings of non-judgment. And so with ease, he could say, sex doesn't mean anything. You can do whatever you wish and it doesn't mean anything. And when he said it, he had already received those understandings. He was already sitting in that frequency of non-judgment. And so he could say this with a lot of ease. The ones who were receiving it from him, the ones who were sitting over there and listening to him, he didn't change their frequency. He just told them what he had experienced through his frequencies of non-judgment. But when they were receiving what he had said, they were receiving it from their frequencies of judgment or this or that or whatever their systems and beliefs are. They received it in those frequencies. And then they did the actions of what the guru was saying, but while sitting at their frequency. And isn't it just so amazing that I talk about it 1,000 times, that actions don't matter. It is the frequency from which you do those actions that matter. And so in my program, the only thing I tell people is first change your frequency and come to mine. And when people do that, they're simply just doing those meditations, 13-minute meditations, coming into my frequency. And when I say sex doesn't matter, they totally get it. They totally get it because it is Meenal speaking to Meenal. And both of us are sitting in the same frequencies. And they understand that it's not about the action sex at all. It is about releasing the frequencies of judgment towards the word sex. And they get it. So it's not like everybody's now, oh, okay, sex doesn't mean anything, so I'm going to rush out and have sex with 5 people, because it's all about the action, and the action doesn't mean anything at all. It's all about the understanding, about not even the understanding, about the knowing that you will receive about every word. And so in my program, or in the message that I'm being told to deliver to people, it's all about frequencies. Change your frequency. First, come to this frequency of answers, and you have all the answers meant for you. Then don't even listen to me. When you are able to understand your own answers, when you are able to tap into your own frequency of guidance, just tap into guidance and be there. And if I am saying something that is not resonating with you, you listen to yourself. You don't even bother to listen to me, because what I'm saying, it might be on your path. It might become clear to you 5 days later, 5 months later. You will resonate it another day, but your next step will come so easily through your path of guidance. And I so say to you, don't listen even to what I'm saying. Don't even resonate with me, but at least first tap into your own guidance, and guidance you will receive when you're sitting in my frequency, because my frequency has easy access to guidance. So take your own guidance. You are your own guru. And that is what it is. Right now, your beautiful frequency of confusion, you will always sit in the mind. Confusion is here. It's a frequency of the mind, the frequency of the heart. When you go into, you will totally get what Sadhguru was saying. You will totally get what I am saying. one path before the other, after the other, parallel to the other, you will know the answer to that one. Is emptying ourselves to be dropped as well as doership? Doing it from a space of the energy choosing us to empty when it wants. Your question totally went over my head. Is emptying ourselves to be dropped as well as doership? Okay, so you sit and I say to you, empty yourself, empty yourself. Doing it from a space of the energy, choosing us to empty when it wants. The beautiful answer in this lies in the choice that we have when we do become aware. This emptying is not an action that we are taking, but it's part of the observation. When we stand in the middle of all kinds of Mahabharat and simply become an observer. We might be doing something at that time. I might even be standing in the middle of a war, a battlefield, and slaying people. I might have my sword out and I might be slaying people, but I will not be focusing on the action, knowing that I am the medium to do that slaying. What you are saying to me, should we just sit and not do anything? You can do that, totally do that. And in that space, even as you say, I'm not going to do anything, I'm just simply going to sit, because the energy will do whatever it has to do. I can assure you that it will create 100 emotions in you. And when the emotions are created, you can again choose. You can choose to release those emotions. You can choose to be an observer of the emotions. You can choose to act in those emotions. All of them will have a different set of experiences. Neither of them are wrong. It's just a different set of experiences. We have to empty ourselves. No, you don't have to empty yourself. You don't have to even observe yourself. We just simply talk about an aware life and an unaware life. In an unaware life, life will take you wherever it has to take you. You are still not lost. I was told one time when I was sitting in guidance saying, nobody is lost. The people who have to find your frequency will come to you. They're not lost. They're having experiences that will push them to you. And you will think, oh, poor fellow, he had to go through so much before he came to me. No, no, no. He had to go through so much because that was a part of his journey to come to you, to come to all the answers frequency. He had to go through all of those question frequencies, and they went through it. They are not lost. You are not the one to guide them. You are not the one to free them from something. Nobody needs your hand holding. Everybody is already on their journey. It was very important for me to understand that so that I could release my doership. Because even as this role, this robe that I wore, that, oh, I'm a guru, I've got this fancy frequency, I've got to guide people. No, 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 no. You don't have to guide anybody. It's a role. You come in that costume, you sit over there, you act out that costume, and then you can leave that costume and be an observer of everything. It's simply a costume. So again, where your question comes from, do I even have to release my doership and release all of it? The minute you become aware of an emotion as a third party, you're already aware. Then an actual release, I release into the candle or I don't release into the candle, it falls to the wayside. Again, getting stuck into tools. Tools are simply meant to help you. They are not rules. The rules break every single day. Rules are meant to be broken. I have a full webinar on that. Yeah, but these are tools provided to you so that you can become more aware. The game is to come to awareness and not to, should I be leaving? Why should I even release? Because releasing is doership on me. True it is. And even observing is a doership on you, because who's observing? You. You the one with the third eye. You the one with these two eyes. You are the one that is observing. What are you going to choose to do? Everything is okay. You can completely choose to sit still, not eat, not drink, not have water, not do anything, because why should I even pick up my hand for a glass of water? That would be doership. Now, what are you developing? It's called like an over-analytic stage for doership. No, I can't pick up the water because doership is bad. and I would be going up and picking up the glass and picking up and drinking the water. It's bad. Doership is not allowed. Me says, release doership. I'm not going to pick up anything and eat it. And I say, that's okay too. You will not pick up anything to eat it if you are truly aware in that moment that I'm not going to eat this because that is doership. I'm not going to drink this, that is doership. If you become truly aware, the need to eat and the need to drink water will be released. If you are truly aware. When you're not truly aware, then other emotions will come up. For example, fear. Oh my God, I haven't eaten for 6 days. Shall I now pick up the glass? Shall I now eat something? I haven't eaten anything. I'm feeling so tired. I'm feeling so much of loss of energy. So emotions will come to you. If you are able to observe yourself thoroughly in that, I can tell you, I have experienced it, that the need for food and the need for water can totally be released when you are told. But, I just simply follow guidance. I follow guidance all the time. So when the guidance says, release your doership on this, I release the doership. When the guidance says, go do this, go take an entire group to Australia, I pick up that much of doership to take an entire group to Australia. Is that doership? Sure. But am I thinking about it? Am I thinking of that I am responsible for that group? Tomorrow, if something happens in Australia and everybody's dead, am I responsible? Oh, I took the group to Australia. I am not responsible. The doership is not in the action, is not in the action of dropping the doership. It's in what is here as you are thinking about doership and non-doership. I can keep going on and on about how this thing can totally entangle you. Totally, because even picking up the glass of water is doership, isn't it? Now you have to keep the body alive. And you're keeping the body alive by being a doer. Take a look at it again, into the mind so much. So simply release and get into guidance and take your own understanding of how much doership is needed by you and how much is you are the one with goals and ambitions that you are thrusting upon yourself. Because whatever is needed by you in guidance will just simply flow and come. You will get up from here and go to the other room. Oh my God, I have to take my body from one room to the other. Now that's doership. I'm not going to move. I'm sitting on this chair. I will continue to sit on the chair till my last breath because everything else that I do is doership. No, sitting on the chair is doership itself. And you can have so many mind boggling. And again, mind boggling, because all of this is mind frequency at work. Neither is bad, neither is wrong. Everything will give you a different set of experiences. And when you are going through an experience, and if the experience of putting in shame, sitting yourself in shame, sitting yourself in guilt becomes noticeable, in that moment, you can see that you are being the doer. In that moment, go ahead and release. What stops you from releasing it in that moment itself? Mind games. I think that is what I had to answer for you, Megha. But if I missed out on something, let me know. Is doership and responsibility the same? They're very closely attached. They're very, very closely attached, because when you become responsible for something, then you will take on more doership. It is my responsibility, let us say, it is my responsibility to take care of the food at home. The dinner is getting cooked, and it is my responsibility. It is my responsibility, mind you. I might be cooking and not considering it my responsibility at all. I might still be cooking for 100 people and not considering it my responsibility. But if I get too much into my role, and let us say my role is that of a cook, now it's my responsibility to feed the 20 people in the house. And the more I have to get into my responsibility, today, if the food is good, it is my responsibility and my credit. If today the food is bad, it is my responsibility and my guilt, my shame, because the food is bad. So the more I take on responsibility, the more I take on doership, and the more I can experience those different aspects of taking on responsibility, of taking on doership. But the more I'm able to see myself as a medium through all of this, the responsibility will simply dissolve. So every time you feel that you are being responsible, or even people are pointing at you that you are responsible for something. This is Muting Suparna. So even as you feel that responsibility to be doing something, and another old example comes to me for life that, okay, got all my answers. Okay, fabulous. That says Megha. Fabulous. Okay. So here is the thing. When, and this is again a story from my life only, when Expect Miracles, Mani said in the middle of the lockdown, okay, the lockdown has just begun, and Mani says to me, okay, all of this while you haven't put out any videos or anything, but now you need to put out some videos, and we are going to have a 30-day program that is going to be brought to life. I had no idea how to make a website. I had no idea how to create these, what is it called, these videos and all of that, the ones that you see in the 30-day program. I had no idea what the 30-day program would look like, what the content would look like. For the first few days, I sat in doership. I sat in doership because Mani had said, now we are going to have a program. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know. And now it's lockdown time. Who will make the videos? Who will make a website? There is nobody that I can approach. I don't know. Every time we've tried to make a website, it's not worked out. And the website is always collapsed. And this has happened. And for the 5th time, now website is going to be made. But what if the website doesn't work out? What all is needed for the website? I don't know. I sat for the first 2 or 3 days in this doership. I said, okay. And then, Mani would give me the content and say, okay, we need to make a video. I didn't know how to make a video, but I had a phone, and the phone has a record button. So I would sit with the record button, and I became the doer. So the first video was all about an introduction. It was just about an introduction to the Expect Miracles program. That's all that the video was. And the first day's assignment, Mani said, we will teach them how to journal. So it was all about, okay, welcome to the Expect Miracles program, and we are going to teach you how to journal in a certain format. But I sat as a doer, and it was hilarious. I made one video, I looked at it, I didn't like it. Why didn't I like it? Because I was responsible. And for that reason, I was responsible for the video to be a certain quality. And this quality was not matching my expectation. And so delete. So I deleted that, made a second one, deleted, third, deleted, fourth, deleted. Now I was deleting and not liking any of the videos. Matha chamka. I simply sat down and said, oh my God, wow. How easily I picked up that I have to do this. And so I have to do it in a certain perfectionist way. And as soon as I understood that, in that moment, all doership released, all responsibility released. And I simply said to myself, if the program has to be created, then Mani will find a way. Then Mani will find a way to teach me how to do the program. Mani will find the way to tell me what all assignments are needed. And from that moment onwards, I have never deleted a single video. The next video that I recorded, that's it. I don't even need to look at it, whether it is perfect or it is not perfect, because I didn't do it. Mani did it. And whatever he did, it's perfect. I don't need to change it. Whatever is coming out is perfect. I have not had a single person come and tell me that your 30-day program, these videos don't work. These videos don't. Everybody tells me, oh my God, they're so crystal clear. And it's so amazing because most of those videos, I would say 99% of those videos were made at 10 o'clock at night. Okay, so Parna, stop unmuting yourself. Wait. Now the mute button is not there only. Suparna, please mute yourself. Okay, I can finally mute her. Yeah. So here's the thing. Was I going to be able to do everything that Mani asked me to do, even if I was going to stay the doer? Yes, I would have managed to do it. I, myself, would have managed to do it from my limited intelligence and what I thought perfection looked like. I'm telling you, after 8 edits, after 6 edits, I would have done it. I could have done it, and I would do it from some frequency of perfection. But when I released my responsibility that I'm not the one doing it, and Mani will help me with it, when I let go of my responsibility, saying that Mani will do it, who takes on the responsibility? Mani does. And now it's Mani's responsibility whether he wants a video with 5 mistakes in it, or he wants a video to be completely free of all mistakes. It's not my responsibility. And so what did it do for me? It made me lighter. It made me more joyous, because now I was no longer under the stress of having to create 5 different videos, edit them, and put them together. Even when these sessions started, again, it was in the middle of the lockdown, and I had no idea. And I always watch people's sessions, and everything is so formal, and everything is to be all right, and there've got to be 4 different angles of the camera, and the expressions have to be right, and all of that. And I was like, I don't have anybody to do the camera. Who will do all of this camera manning and editing? This is the middle of the lockdown. And then Mani is like, no, just simply your conversation with somebody. This has to be a conversation. You don't have to make any pretenses. You have to just be yourself. You have to go sit over there and open your mouth. And by opening the mouth, some words will come out. Those are the words that are meant for those people. You don't have to be responsible for anything at all. What did that do to me? It totally took off all kinds of stress from my head as to what this session should look like, for what these meditations should look like. Am I being able to deliver? Are you people receiving anything? Not my job. It's not my responsibility. And when people listen to these sessions, they totally love them. Well, I have some of you coming over here, but even otherwise, when people call me and say, this is my problem, that is my problem, I'm like, okay, go and listen to that session. And they totally love them. They can see what's relevant for them. And they really don't mind that I'm saying hello to everybody. I'm showing off my earrings. They really don't mind. They're receiving the frequency of masti. And that's all there is to the sessions. So how can this masti become yours more and more when you let go of the responsibility? So again and again, I talk about my life and how I have constantly worked on myself. Did this come to me on the day 1 itself? No, it came to me after I had already deleted 5 of those sessions. But once I deleted 5 of those sessions, once I was able to understand that this is just purely my doership that is putting me into all kinds of stress. And then what happened? It was so amazing, because even the little bit of editing that was needed by me, I learned it in 5 minutes flat. I had never done any kind of editing before. Somebody who was staying in my house, she showed me, like, okay, you can just do this and it will edit. By the time she came back, she did this, and she went out with her friends, even though it was the middle of the lockdown. My house was open for anybody to go out and come back. So even as she did that, and she came back in the evening, I showed her, I said, oh, I haven't just learned how to, edit and make some additions or deletions. I've also learned how to insert, names and captions and labels. And she's like, how were you able to do it? I said, I don't know. It just kept coming to me, and it was so easy. Everything was so easy. I think I've got whatever I needed to do. I don't need fancy videos. This is perfect. And this is how it was. So all of that perfection that you have in your mind is only when you are sitting with the responsibility that you are responsible for doing something. This is the target. This is a 40 people target. You have to get 40 people into this program. This is the target. Now you have to get 100 people. What about when you do get targets to accomplish? If you don't meet targets, you're going to be out of a job. Oh, well, I would say take a look into that fear. You have targets, that's your responsibility. You are the country head for marketing for something or the other. As someone who has always been country head marketing for any organization that I joined, I was always the head of marketing. And for someone to tell you that I got numbers and numbers and targets, and I would never look at the target. I would never look at the target. A target never scared me just because I didn't look at it. I understand that it came from my frequency of abundance, that the target was not important. Sometimes the target didn't get met. I didn't lose my job. Most of the times, as I remember it, but of course, we all remember the fancy parts about our lives. Most of the times, as I remember it, the target was overachieved. Why? Because I didn't get fearful of the target. And that is how my life was, even in unawares, because fear didn't exist, because abundance existed. I was just pure lucky to have those frequencies playing for me more of the time, even while I was unaware. But now, because we are aware, all of us are that lucky. We don't need to play in fear. We can play in fearless. We don't need to play in lack. We can play in abundance because we are all lucky to have understood that these tools are so simple, and we can tune into frequencies so easily, and we've all understood that. And now it's just a game. Every time you're in some other frequency and you become aware that you're in the other frequency, change it. That's all. Change it. Is changing it doership? Absolutely, it is. It is also a choice that is given to you. But change it from the frequency of fun, not because, oh my God, I need to change my frequency because this frequency is ruining me. Well, the first step in releasing is acceptance and allowance. The first step in doing the candle process, which is all about releasing. But even before you release, it is all about allowing and accepting, which means don't be fearful of your frequency. It's just a frequency. Okay, we are done with that very long conversation. And I hope that all of you have all your answers on frequencies, on responsibilities, and on your roles and responsibilities. So even when you have a target being given to you, the target, the word itself is a trigger word. And what does it create in you? If a target creates fears in you, then please understand that the fears are supposed to be worked on and not targets. The targets will change. People will stop looking at targets. It's happened. It happens to me all the time. And the targets don't matter anymore. And people will still be appreciating you. Why? Because you come from the space of self-love. When people appreciate you, those targets will fall way offside because that trigger is no longer applicable in your life. All right, so chat. Let's just see if there are any more. Okay, fabulous. Looks like everybody's got all their answers about responsibilities. Okay, everyone. So a quick meditation. Not much. I'm not the doer. And I have to go out partying after this. Okay, don't have much time. So a deep breath in and release. A deep breath in and release. And then the only one line that comes to us again and again, the one that shifts our frequencies to Masti. I am Meenal. I am Meenal. Let this line be the only thought in your head right now. I am Meenal. I am Meenal. I am Meenal. I am Meenal. The frequency of Masti, the frequency of abundance, the frequency of joy, unconditional love to the self, all that holds in Meenal frequency, that frequency, I am. And so I am joy. I am unconditional love. I am Masti. I am abundance. I am Meenal. I might have any name, but no, that's just a name. Because I am Meenal. In my energy, I am Meenal. Meenal has all the answers. I have all the answers. Meenal receives love because Meenal is love. And that's exactly who I am. I am Meenal. I am love. And so I am ready to receive love. In this moment, I am Meenal. I am completely open to every experience because every experience will only grow joy for me. Through every experience, I will be able to see the energies of mind. And I am Meenal. And I can choose from all of those experiences the energies of joy and Masti. Because I am Meenal. I am Meenal. I am Meenal. And I know that I am not responsible for anything. I'm simply a free-flowing, beautiful source of energy. I know that because I am Meena. I know it. I don't have goals. I don't have tasks. I simply am a medium for goals to happen or to not happen. I am simply a medium for tasks to happen or not happen. I know it because I am Meena. I am not even responsible for my breath. I am not responsible even for living or for dying. I am simply not responsible because I am Meena. I've handed over those reins to the universe, to money, to the entire universal intelligence. And the universal intelligence can do whatever it wishes through me. And I allow, I accept. I accept all roles with equanimity. I can see through the roles. I am an observer through every role because I am Meena. I allow those roles, but I don't cling to the roles. I simply observe those roles, and through the roles, I receive joy. I can observe some roles where I am meant to do things, be an actor to somebody else, create some experiences for someone. Those experiences might be joyful or not, but through all of that, I can stay in equanimity. In equanimity. I am in equanimity because equanimity is my masti. And it is my masti because I am Meena. All of these experiences and their explanations and the knowledge and the knowing is open to me, is accessible by me. I have that frequency of all the answers. I am Meena. There is no separation between me and the source. There is nothing to a name. All the names mean nothing and everything because I am in that oneness with the name Meena. I am Meena. All that I want is simply a play. All that I have lost is simply a play. All that I will gain is simply a play. All that goes fulfilled and unfulfilled, just a game, a game, a game. To experience, just simply to experience. And I allow all experiences to come because I know that through those experiences, through any frequency that those experiences bring to me, I can bring my needle back to masti because I am Meena. I allow, I allow, I allow. I am the flow. I'm in the flow. I am Meena. Be in the flow. Be in the state of Meena. Enjoy. All right, everybody. Lots and lots of love. Thank you. Om Mani, Om Mani, Om Mani. Bye, everyone. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Lots and lots of love.
Om
Thank you,
Mani.
Meena.